Hello, everyone. Here we are on the set of Home I'm Darling with our director, Tori Truss. Hey, Tori, good morning.
Hi, Beth.
So, Tori, I just wanted to get you on camera speaking a little bit about the play
Mm.
and telling our audiences why you think it's something they might enjoy seeing.
Oh, well, there's a number of reasons to see the play. First of all, it's a really good play. It's really well written. It's provocative, meaning it gets you to think about lots of different things, political things, social things, work things, relationship things. And you get to think about the 1950s, which is always fun. And it's also, we have beautiful production values. It's wonderful to look at. And I just want to say personally, the theater here is so intimate and gorgeous that it feels really special to be in this theater.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I'll do a little pan here so that our audience can see a little bit more of the set. Here we have Diane Larson has created this set, and it's part kitchen and part living room and part bedroom upstairs. So this, say a little about how we use this set maybe.
Well, the idea is that this is a house, a semi-detached house in a neighborhood in England. And it's a house that was built in the 1920s and it's been restored to the 1950s. So we have this, I don't know if you can see the floor, but this beautiful tile floor that you would see in kitchens all over the place in the 1950s. And that's kind of our theme of like, here is the beauty of the 1950s, and the colors are all from the 1950s, and basically the actors kind of flow from one room to the next, and certain things, my husband observed that he felt that the living room area was very masculine and that the kitchen area was very feminine. And in some ways the play does bring up gender roles and how who is the provider and how do we provide for each other. And it questions that and it asks us to think deeply about it, maybe beyond the 1950s, but using the 1950s as kind of the baseline of what is it to provide in a marriage or in a partnership.
So the characters in the play, they don't actually live in the 1950s, is that right?
They don't. They've decided that they wanted to live in the 1950s, as though it's the 1950s, because they feel that that time was a time uh, of values that they value, and the play kind of questions that a little bit. But in the meantime, you get to see these great costumes from the 1950s, beautiful dresses, and you get to see some of the paraphernalia of the 50s, as well as people wrestling with the ideas that are presented in the 50s, and how do you create a balanced relationship in the in this day and age.
So do you think this is anything that might ring true in today's world at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because well, I don't want to give away too much, but maybe I'm not. If I am, Beth will cut it out. So what has happened is that you had two people, a couple, who have met because they like the 1950s. They are both they both work in jobs. The jobs are very successful for them, but they have to work really, really hard and long hours. And, office work, working 12 hours a day can be a grind. And sometimes people can have the choice to do other things, but sometimes they can't. And in this play, that's wrestled with a little bit.
Hmm. So some people say that this play reminds them a little of another play that was done in the last century. Could you speak a little about that?
Oh, yeah. So, what drew me to this play was the fact that it's a reflection of Ibsen's A Doll's House. And, you know, the Doll's House was written in the late 1880s, right?
Yeah.
And it was so provocative that Ibsen had to rewrite the ending. And what happens is you have a marriage where the husband is the provider, it's a patriarchal system, and the woman is the wife and mother, is trying to keep the house together. And in doing so, she's made some decisions that were not good decisions, but she keeps it from her husband. And what happens in that play is that when the husband and the wife finally sit down and have a real talk together, Nora decides that she needs to leave. And they talk about her leaving the house as the door slam heard round the world, because women did not leave their husbands then. So this play is kind of seminal for modern plays, and everybody who has been in the theater kind of has been weaned on this play. And Laura Wade, our playwright, it's really clear that she loves A Doll's House. And this is her way of taking a modern look at what is kind of an eternal struggle. And so she uses some of the plot conventions of the play, and I don't want to give them away. Or maybe you want me to give them away, I don't know, Beth. But there's some moments that if you know A Doll's House and then you see this play, you go, oh, uh-oh, I can recognize this. But she plays it in a different way. She uses them differently. So it's very modern, but it has this resonance.
That's great. So finally, can you speak a little bit about what you feel like this play won the Olivier Award for the best comedy, new comedy in 2018, about the elements of the play which you find funny and the ones that are a little more serious?
Well, I love British humor because British humor is kind of light and people say things, witty things, and they talk really quickly. And for me, that's really fun. There's a lot of the play that just has that nice back and forth. And so I like that. And it can have a kind of a silly sort of Valentine feel to it. But then what happens is as it's peeled back, you start to see more serious things. And once something that was sort of light and ridiculous, like the storytelling that the couple has between each other, has later on, it has more of a real struggle in it. So,
Right.
And that's what I love about the play, is that it starts out in one genre, like you think, oh, this is a cartoon, and then it ends up as being actually kind of serious, but with a hope, a dream of hope.
Wonderful. That's a good place to end.
Okay.
Thank you, Tori.
Thank
And
you.
I hope everybody comes and sees Home, I'm Darling.